Hi everyone, so welcome to our panel, Lending 2.0. My name is Vera Esteves Cardoso and I am a consultant at Morais Leitão. I work in the Banking and Finance department and focus most of my time in financial regulation and in the fintech sector and in the crypto sector.
Hi, I'm Nagy. I'm also a lawyer at Morais Leitão and I work with Vera in the Banking and Finance department and focus also on the topics that Vera just mentioned, fintechs and everything like that.
So today we are diving into the transformative new world of embedded lending, which is the financial services seamlessly integrated into everyday transactions. Embedded lending is not a new concept, but it has gained significant traction in the wake of new technological developments, which were also accelerated by the pandemic. So what is embedded lending? I'm sure most of you already know, but for those that don't, it consists of offering lending services through non-financial products, catering to consumer needs at the point of purchase. Examples of this include financing options for buying a car, healthcare services, or even within e-commerce platforms. In case of embedded lending, fintechs are there, but they're not really there, or at least that is one of the goals, and also being the goal, creation of value for all your user experience. One analogy which has always stuck with me, which I think also relates to embedded lending, is who do you think of when you plug in your laptop? Most people wouldn't think of the electricity companies that are providing the laptop with the energy that is so needed. And the goal also tends to be the same with embedded lending.
However, as always, with the growth of a new sector, new challenges arise, such as regulatory compliance and playing catch-up with the regulators, risk management, especially due to heightened exposure to cyber risks and fraud, and competition, which requires continuous innovation and differentiation between the players. Today we have an amazing panel with us to speak about different examples of embedded lending. First we will hear from Alexandre Fernandes, country manager in Spain and Portugal at Klarna. Second we will hear from Marta Palmeiro, co-founder at StudentFinance. And last but not least, Teresa Sousa, manager at Center of Excellence for Innovation and New Business at BP. So please, speakers, now to you and to your use cases. Alexandre, you may start.
Cool, thank you. First of all, hi everyone. First I would like to thank you to the FinTech House for the invitation to be here today. I would like to tell you a bit about Klarna. I don't know if you've heard about Klarna.
Probably
I guess
not.
so, probably.
Big name today.
We are actually a newcomer in the market. I mean, we've been here for around 2 years, but we've been doing this for some quite time now. Klarna was founded in 2005 in Stockholm. Many people refer to Klarna as like this big new unicorn that is around, but we are an adult, as someone was referring in the previous way. We are one of the leaders in commerce, and I say commerce because we are not just an online player, we are also an offline player. Klarna nowadays, we have 150 million people with us that use Klarna to shop, pay, and bank. I say bank because we are a fully licensed bank, okay? We have a Swedish banking license. Of course, we talk a lot about Portuguese regulators. The Swedish are not easier either. I mean, there are, of course, all of us, we have our challenges.
Good point to get across, right? Definitely.
So, and in terms of like AML, KYC, if you knew what we have to do, not only, of course, in our home market, Sweden, and all the European markets that we operate, we need to comply with those. So there are challenges as well around this. But okay, taking a step back, 150 million consumers, people that use Klarna to shop, pay, and bank. Specifically in Portugal, we are now, as I said before, operating in the market for 2 years now. We've reached very proudly 500,000 consumers in the country, so 500,000 Portuguese that are using our services, and we are now working with around 3,000 merchants. When I received the invitation to talk embedded finance or embedded lending, my first reaction was to go to my team and say like, do we have a match here? and one of Luis that is here today with us, he was saying like, Alex, this is everything that we do. And it's absolutely right. But we need to think that we are already like, Klarna was created from a point and within a goal to be embedded with our merchants. So it's really the core of everything we do. Now, I wanted to think about buy now, pay later, because buy now, pay later is really a topic that has been in the boom lately, specifically in Portugal, with all these new entrants. The market has shaken a bit in the last 2 years, in my opinion. But when Klarna was created in 2005, and when we kind of created the buy now, pay later concept, it was not necessarily focused on flexibility, but on security. E-commerce had nothing to do in 2005 with nowadays. So it's really about how can I create a product that will allow people to buy online safely, receive the product home, and pay after. So, and in terms of embedded, really like everything that we have created is so. So we connect on a very seamless way directly with our merchants, our partners, with the API that in my opinion works quite well, very robust. And exactly in all the ecosystems on different touch points that they have with the consumer, we try to be present. Because we have very clear that, and of course we are a B2B, but we are also a B2C brand, because we are very strong on the consumer side. And I think that's one of the main characteristics that probably differ us from other players is our B2C and our app, right? The fact that we can actually inspire people. So nothing better than to ally with our partners and to say like, let's inspire together. Right, so how can I have messaging on the website? How can I have something or different touch points that can make work? And not only, of course, the inspiration is very important and we have all the funnel of the consumer, we have the conversion, but what happens, what comes after? I'm a Millennium customer. I go to my Millennium app with all due respect and I see there that I spent 60 euros on Zara and maybe that I spent 30 euros in Irmãos Ribeiro LDA. I'm like, what is this? So it's really like, how can we all together give a really superior purchase management experience directly to the consumer? And I think that we have excelled in doing so. So that's the use case that I want to bring today.
Thank you. Just one question. Can you summarize the process of integration with your partners and also describe the level of customization that's available?
Yeah. So I'll give you like basically on two dimensions. So the first one is the online world. The second is the offline. Online, we have basically three ways to work with a merchant, a partner. The first one is a direct integration, which means that we have our API at the disposal. They need really to build the code within their ecosystem. The second option is through an e-commerce platform. Here we talk about the Shopifys, the Magentos, the PrestaShops, like we already have a plugin, so they just need to actually do a kind of configuration. The third element, and this element very important for me, that in my opinion we don't explore enough in Portugal, is distribution. Meaning that PSPs, or people or companies that actually have a money movement license, are able to act as merchant of records of our products. Here I talk about the Adyen, Stripe, we have many other partners, RollPay, that are able to do so. And in these cases, many times we go live with a partner without even realizing, because they are the ones that are actually distributing the Klarna product. And that's very powerful for our ability to scale. On the offline world is slightly different. Actually, like, because of course we're hearing before about the terminals and so forth, like actually our solution in the offline world is the same as in the online. The only difference is the way that the consumer interacts with the technology. So here we can do basically 2-3 things. The first thing is a payment by link. Basically here you are in the cashier in the store, you give your mobile phone and you receive a link on your phone and you actually complete the order. The second is to have it beautifully integrated in the terminal. QR code solution, very MBWay-like. You scan, you complete, like it works, very seamless, very nice. And the third one is Klarna created, and in my opinion, it's really cool. So basically in the Klarna app, let's say I'm in the Mango shop, I want to pay these trousers, this blazer, it costs 90 euros. I go in my Klarna app, I create a card, and I add this card to my wallet, and I tap and pay. And these are basically the 3 ways that we can do so.
Thank you.
I did not answer in a very specific, very important point, which is
the level of customization.
How can we customize? We are always talking about ecosystems. If I go to, I'm thinking merchants that work with us. If I go to Gato Preto, for instance, which is one of our founder partners in Portugal, I go on the PDP, so basically the product page, and I'm going to see a beautiful couch that costs 300 euros. So like we can actually add a SDK that we call on-site messaging, and that can be fully customized to the partner. So I can say that risk couch, you can pay in 3 installments of 100 euros with the fonts, with the size, the color of the partner, and we can actually change our logo from pink to black, whatever fits this partner. So, of course, these are the level in inspiration that we can work together. Then, of course, what is purely financial, what is a product, cannot be customized. But this is the max we can do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Marta?
First of all, thank you for the invitation to be here. Alexandre is a buy now, pay later. Student finance is a study now, pay later. So we kind of took the buy now, pay later use case and we applied it to education. So if you're living in the same world that I do, you know that we're living one of the biggest skills transition in the past, century. Generative AI is there still. People accessing to education, doing reskilling and upskilling programs is not at all at the levels that we as a society need them to be. Right? And so at Student Finance, we started looking at this and see how can we actually scale the access to these programs and get people trained. And we figured out that actually the financing side and the access to the payment to the programs was one of the biggest frictions that was blocking people from taking these big life transformations. At the same time, we've heard several times in the room today the level of low literacy that we're living in Portugal, but it's not just a Portuguese phenomenon, low salary levels, etc. Right? Education is the biggest social elevator, right? We know that income follows assets and we need to see ourselves as an asset, invest in ourselves and then get a benefit in the income. But still, if you go around this room in Portugal and Spain for sure, and if you ask people, what do they think about getting a loan for education? People will say that this is crazy, they will never leverage for education, but they will do it to buy a car, to buy a house, to buy a TV, right? So we completely need to change the mindset. And the way we change the mindset is in embedding ourselves in the journey of our education partners and how we really assess people's skills gap. And so we went to the market actually with a very innovative product that was called income share agreements, where people just start making payments once they're secured employment and are earning above a certain minimum income threshold after education training. So this was very prone for reskilling. The very interesting thing about the concept is this made us look for people assessing their future income potential and not really just who they are at the point when they are interacting with us and applying for financing as student finance. This is a big conceptual shift where we're actually the first company approved by the FCA, so the UK financial regulator, to underwrite based on these future income prediction modeling. And what does this imply, right? This implies that we're really committed to ensuring that the outcomes of the education are happening, right? For student finance, we are not a financing business. We are not even a business of empowering access to education. We are a business of empowering access to quality employment and quality salaries after this, right? And so that is a big shift in mindset when we think about the use case of financing. And so how do we work? We work with both education institutions and employers. We are anyone applying for a training in an education institution can embed with the journey apply for financing as student finance, and we work with the education institution in a complete seamless and online manner. But we also realized that we need to work with employers. We are living, again, we need to incentivize and make sure that distribution and access of education is where people are, right? And we figured out for the first years of the operation that being where the education partners are is not enough to get the scale that we really need this to become and that we know it has the potential. So we started embedding ourselves also in the employers, right? And we recently developed a new tool that is called Mydra, where we are taking the journey a couple of steps further, right? So we start with identifying the skills gap. And so we identify the skills gap, we connect to the education partner, and then we have the embedded financing on the back of this, right? Again, the outcome, and we monitor, obviously, and support the users across the journey, goes from the skills gap identification to really understanding what is the benefit of the education, either being that securing a new job or really getting that promotion and salary uplift on the back of it.
Marta, just one question for you. How do you successfully analyze the employability rate, and how is this assessment made in a UX-friendly manner?
So we monitor this on an ongoing basis. Users have reporting tools and dashboards where they communicate to us on a seamless way. We're obviously integrated with the payroll providers, and so we do have access at that source of truth from the employer whenever possible. If not, then it's a user reporting, but we leverage open banking and obviously API integrations with several providers to get that data. And the intention of collecting that data is not for the sake of only triggering and monitoring the payment obligations, but it is also to support the user across the journey, right? Because we have very strong data analysis and benchmarking, and we know if a user is being employed and earning below 20% of what is the industry average for their salary, skills level, etc., right? And so we work in a very integrated manner that we can, either really have a concrete recommendation of further training to then boost the salary uplift and get the person to the full salary potential that is right for that seniority position, and obviously the availability of jobs in the labor market.
Teresa?
Thank you for the invitation. So BPI, I'm pretty sure you all heard of them. They has been working on appifying its services and its products, and one of the first products that was 100% appified was the mortgage, right? So it's one of the core products that we have at the bank. And in recent years, a new player has emerged in the market, which is credit intermediaries, right? They're super important for our business and for getting us also mortgage. And I mean, we have this API totally available, but most of the players are not mature enough technological to integrate this API. So what we decided to do is we developed a platform where they have, a free platform for our partners where they can manage all the credit operations from mortgage they have with BPI. They can create profiles for their clients, they can they can make multiple simulations for their customers, and they can follow up all the credit process through there, because typically they used to call managers, they used to go to the branches, they used to email, so the process was really everywhere. So now what we are trying to do is to centralize the mortgage process with those intermediaries through a unique channel. Okay, so they have the live decisions, they can follow up all the processes there, and we gain efficiency because we have all together in one place, and also we reduce the time to market for like 50%. So now within 48 hours, they can have an answer from the simulation to the credit approval. And this is critical to gain, obviously, the client for their side and for us to gain the business, right? So, I mean, we gain efficiency, they gain a new and free platform. And I mean, that was the use case we have been testing. We've launched this pilot last year in June. And around September, we started to onboard more and more partners. And we now have like 60 partners, 200 users, 400 operations. So I mean, this is only for the mortgage use case, but I mean, we can do this for multiple use cases. Okay.
That was my next question. Like, what are the next steps for BPI? What is the next project?
Still in the mortgage case, I mean, we still have the direct to consumer case, right? So people want to buy a house, they don't want to buy a mortgage, right? That's the friction in the process. So what we are trying to do is to embed this credit journey into their house buying journey, okay? For example, in BPI, we have BPI Expresso Imobiliário, which is our house buying and selling platform. And what we want to do is to try to embed that credit journey into that credit search when they're searching for a house, and this can be applied not only to house, but also if you're searching for a car, why not do this in Stand Virtual? Or if you're searching for construction stuff at Leroy Merlin, why can't we embed that journey? We want to facilitate and take out the friction of getting the credit for the customer. So we can do this through our own channels, as for these two examples I gave, that was our own channel, but we can do that on others' channels, right? Third-party channels. That's the big gain of it.
Thank you. And now a question for all of you. What in your opinion are the biggest gains to look out for and benefits for or with embedded lending? I don't know who wants to go first.
I mean, to us, it's really the core of everything we do. Like I'm always say to the teams, and also like with the every time I meet a partner, every time I pitching to a new partner, I always say that Klarna, it's not like Klarna will not work without you. And it's true. Like even though we are also a consumer brand, the partner is really in the center of everything we do. So embedded, and to embed our APIs, our technology directly in the partner's ecosystem to reach the consumer, everything we do. I mean, it needs to work smoothly, it needs to be customized. You were talking a lot about credit decisions, and it's funny because it's one of the main things that people, when come to me, sometimes they ask like, how are your underwriting policies, what you are doing, and so forth. And it's funny because like on the day-to-day, we don't even spend much time talking or even reflecting about this, because it's really like microseconds. Like many times I go to a partner, and I remember, I'm just remembering now an experience I had. It's quite funny here in Portugal. We were talking to a partner, hey, what about your in-store solution? I was like, you know what? Don't buy it. Like not now, because you know, like it's taking a bit of time, you need to do an ID scan and to have this in the shop. I say, Alex, I need to send a fax. And I'm saying, yeah, in this case, believe me, it will decline from half an hour to maybe 2 minutes, right? So it's really this, like continue working with the partners, making sure that the partners are in the core, in the center, that everything that we do, that's the only way to make sure it's gonna work.
Thank you.
I will say certainly experience, but also pricing, because a lot of these embedded financial solutions made sure that both parties, merchant and enabler or financing lender, come together. And most times this means that the end user is actually getting a much better pricing at the end of it, because we are collaborating and we are finding more creative ways to obviously get our revenue from. Like for instance, in our case, we have a revenue share with the education providers, which allows us obviously to then offer no cost or very cheap financing to the end user, right? And this only happens because of obviously this discount structure that we have with education partners. And of course, if this was a sink, this would certainly not be the case, right? This is not how traditional finance and the majority of the banks work. And there is a big mindset shift in how we serve the client, and certainly the big winner is the end customer.
Thank you. Teresa?
Yeah, I think it's a win-win situation for all. I mean, for us, we are able to distribute our products and services in multiple platforms and not only at our own platforms, right? So we are here trying to gain more business in a broader way. Then to our partners, they have, in this case specific, they have a free platform and where they can manage all the credit operations they have with the bank, and they can follow up the process live and within much less time than they used to. And I mean, for clients, we want to embed the journey of credit and not make it a friction. So I think basically it's this
Win for all.
win for all.
Thank you.